Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we are going to be working with the chamber that I built in the last episode to house the blaze spawner. We're actually going to be completely removing this need for any sort of spawner inside of this chamber. But it's still going to function by providing us with various mob jobs. To do that, we're going to require the use of a particular block from industrial foregoing, known as a mob duplicator. Here is the recipe that you can use to craft such an item. 2 pieces of plastic, 2 pieces of magma cream, 2 emeralds, 1 redstone, 1 advanced machine frame, and 1 piece of nether wart. Now, I've crafted 3 of these because I hope to actually be able to spawn a maximum of 3 different mobs. But to go along with this mob duplicator, you will also need to get yourself a mob imprisonment tool, which is relatively simple. You need 4 pieces of plastic and 1 gas tier, and that produces 1 mob imprisonment tool. You will need a mob imprisonment tool for every mob you wish to duplicate. So in my case, I wish to duplicate a wither skeleton and a blaze. Therefore, I will at least need 2 mob imprisonment tools. If you take a look into my inventory, you can see that I've crafted 3 mob duplicators and 3 mob imprisonment tools. I've also crafted a few other items. Let's start off with what this is here. Good. This is a redstone receiver. And this is how we're going to actually configure everything to run wirelessly. This is the recipe for it. We're also going to need ourselves a screen controller. Why? Because, well, we have a screen next to it that we're going to actually be utilizing today. Lastly, I have 3 buttons. Why? Because one of these button modules syncs to one of these redstone receiver. So it needs an identical match. I may need to craft 1 more to turn on this, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I've also crafted some ender tanks. And as you can see here, these ender tanks are what are responsible now for wirelessly transferring our liquid meat and our pink slime. If we hop on top of it, you can color code each of these ender tanks in order to do what you require it to do, or to sync them together. So, in our pink slime case, we have the pink slime one over here, all color coded to pink, and way across in our ore setup, in our ore processing setup, I have the corresponding ender tank with all 3 on top pink, giving our, I believe it is the fermenter, the required pink slime. So, ender tanks are quite useful. Now let's take a look at this mob duplicator, shall we? So we can see that it requires power. That's hence the need for a quantum entangler porter and some basic universal cables. Next, we can see that it requires essence. That's why we have ourselves an ender tank, because we're going to need to give this thing some sort of essence or liquid XP. Lastly, this item right here is our the slot for our mob imprisonment tool, which, as I said, I've crafted 3. So let me pick these back up, and we're gonna head outside so I can start setting this thing up. Okay. So for the sake of the video, I've actually lit inside of the chamber up, as well as I've punched a hole right here for us to get easy access to the chamber. Now if we take a look here, this is where we're gonna place our mob duplicator, right? It is going to be in line with the middle block in our wall over here. So this is the middle, and if we take a break that's where 1 is. So let me just place this back. That's 1. We can space them out a little. I can actually move that a little more. Let's put you there. Put you there. And we're gonna give you 2 block gap, put you there. So that should be looking something like this. 1. Alright. And if we take a look back at our working area, okay, we should be good. Now, let me start powering this entire thing. So we're gonna hop down. We're gonna place a... Hang on, let me take this jetpack off. It's really annoying. Okay. We can come behind this. Well, let's set it one time. Set as the wind channel. And we're gonna just set output on all places. So now we can just simply put the power there. And now this has power as well. So if we go back and make sure I didn't put on that, there we go. So now each of these has power. Next, I'm gonna come behind each of these and put a block like so. And we're gonna place a redstone receiver. Hang on, let me surface for air. Okay, now that that's done, we'll put that, and if we go across, that there. Can I still get air? Yes, I can. Oh, and we can actually get up now. Okay, so with those things there, all that's required next is to start using these ender tanks. Ooh, I forgot to get myself some of the green dye, and we need to get the fluid XP over. Let me go grab that quickly. Okay. Let's put you down. 1, 2, 3. Alright. Break that. Now let's hop back down here. I wonder if it will automatically detect. Let me go on the other side. Come here. Because I don't want you to feed of this. Let's see. No, only you are getting fluid XP. Okay, yep. Alright, so let's get the mechanical pipes and connect these boys up. Alright. Let me surface back again. And so now you have fluid XP, you have fluid XP, and you too as well. Give me 1 second, let me make it daytime so this way no mob will want to attack us, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that it's daytime, I can come back down here to show you what I did. So this little dial here actually allows the ender tank to start diverting in the fluid that is inside of it to the various sources. So as you see, if it's upside down, when I have the red side up, it pushes the fluid XP to each of the mechanical pipes into each of our mob duplicators. So now if we hop back up again, you'll see that each of them have, well, fluid XP. So now, yeah, let's leave that open yet. Let me grab our mob imprisonment tools. So we're going to need 2 in particular. And clean up some space in our inventory because we're going to need to grab back the cardboard box. This might be a little bit risky. Come on. Come on, Blaze Spawner. You can do it. Or is it that it has too much light now? It shouldn't matter, should it? Because this thing spawns in the nether. There we go. Gimme. Alright, so as soon as you get the mob, you can literally just click on them and they'll be captured in your mob imprisonment tool. So now we need to do the same for a wither skeleton. This is why I'm moving away from relying on these spawners and actually using a powered form Even though the fluid XP is kind of, you know, utilizing those resources, this is kind of why, because this thing takes so long. And unfortunately, I don't think apotheosis is, I believe it's apotheosis. I don't think we can mess with the spawn rate and so forth with these spawners. So this is the rate that it'll actually spawn the mobs in, which is kind of too slow for me. So, come on. I wonder if you need darkness. We'll wait. Ah, there you are. Come here. Okay. So now we have our 2 mobs. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna actually tell this to run with a redstone signal. And we're gonna put our blaze spawner inside of that. Well, our blaze imprisonment tool in there. We're also gonna tell you to run only with a redstone signal. And we're gonna put our wither skeleton in it. Now this one is an empty one, so I'm just gonna leave that, you know, without them. Actually, I can put the mob imprisonment tool in it, but there is no, you know, mob to spawn. Next, let me clear this out on all of these. It is time for us to start setting up the how we're actually going to turn those things on. So we're going to utilize the screen over here. And where can I pull power for this particular screen controller? I can put it right here. So now you should, yep, you should be good. So the purpose of the screen controller basically can wirelessly connect to any screen and it will give it power. Now let's get these buttons, these button modules, button screen modules. So we're going to click on you, that's channel 4, your channel 5, and your channel 6. And we're going to come by our screen and we're going to click, that was channel 4. This should be, which we can click into it and enter and change the name. So to basically enter these screens, you shift click into it with nothing in your hand and you'll be able to enter. If you have something in, maybe you're offhand, it may keep you from entering it, so be wary of that. Here, you can actually name it, as you saw. I named it Blaze, as well as you can change the label color, so we can probably set it to something either red or orange. And that should be fine. And if we back out, we'll see the name Blaze is actually in that orange. Next, we're going to come and we're going to install the second one, which is for the wither skeleton. And well, obviously I can't put that in black because then we won't be able to see it. As you can see, we can't see anything there with black. So I'm going to have to change it to white. Like so. And lastly, we have our empty one. So I'm just going to call it empty. And leave it as such. So we can also change the configuration of each of these buttons. So we can have it be just a single press it once and it'll spawn on, it'll run the machine once. Well, not even once, because a button won't actually trigger this long enough in order for it to run. It needs a constant redstone signal. So to do so, let's go back into it. We're going to tell it to toggle, and we're going to do this for both of them. Now I'm not going to run this just yet, simply because I do not have everything fully set up, as well as they could kind of back up into these holes and make a mess. But that's essentially the setup that we have to do here. So let me go grab some material to cover this up. So I have fully sealed up the floor as well as sealed our entrance. So now it's time to truly test this. So now if I click on this button here, there you go. You can see a Blaze was instantly spawned and he's being killed as soon as he spawned because, well, our mob crusher is actually putting in work. Now I can simply take that off and put on the wither skeleton, and it's going to start killing those wither skeletons that the mob duplicator is producing. And yep, as soon as they spawn, they're basically being killed off. And if we take a look, we can see, oh, well, we're getting quite a good bit of resources. Are you going up? No. Okay. Now, the reason why I set this up in this particular manner, one, it gets us those resources much faster than relying on, say, those place spawners or the wither spawner here that I have. But it also will allow us to get to farm, truly, those wither skeletons in order to get their heads, because I wish to set up a setup in order to contain and gather wither ether from a wither. But to do that, we need to get the necessary resources to form a wither. As you guys saw, we got a skull, so I'm gonna let this run until it gives us the sufficient amount of resources that we need in order to produce a wither. So I'll be back when that happens. So some time has passed and we have obtained 36 wither skeleton skulls, which is a fair decent amount. Furthermore, this also means we can actually build ourselves the wither skeleton and fight it. However, well, one, spawning it outside in this open world probably isn't the best idea. So we're going to have to make use of some other industrial foregoing blocks. One of those blocks actually is called a stasis chamber, which is relatively simple to produce, so I'm going to start crafting one as we speak. Next, we also need to get some sort of block that is wither proof, because we are going to build a chamber in which the wither is going to sit in its stasis mode, and if ever, let's say, power were to fail to the stasis chamber, the wither would be able to roam about, and I simply don't want that to happen. So we're going to build a chamber out of witherproof glass. Well, in this out of glass that can take, damage from the wither, which you can see here is tinted glass. If you do search it up, if you search up wither in the JEI, unfortunately only the witherproof glass comes up, but the recipe for creating this witherproof glass is kinda long and not interesting. But this, on the other hand, seems a lot more reasonable. So let me set a pattern for this, shall we? So we can do so. And let me put this here. Right. So let's get, I don't know, 64 of that. Okay, so now we have our tinted glass and we have our stasis chamber. Next, we're going to need some sort of power. So we're going to need an entangler porter, which is good to have. We're also going to need a way in order to get the ether gas from the wither. And to get the ether gas from the wither, you need to get yourselves a fluid laser base for one. So I've already set that pattern. Fluid. Let's craft this up. And I'm going to craft, I don't know, maybe 4 or 8 of those laser drills. Come on. Where is it? Since we're waiting, let me craft laser drills as well. Okay, we got the laser base. Well, we have 6 laser drills, so I can just craft 2 more just to be safe. Like so. Come on. Right, so now we have the 8 laser drills. Let's get some power cables. Yeah, I'll craft ultimate. While that's crafting, plan for where we're actually going to spawn this. You may be thinking, oh, well, are we going to use our mob building over there? In fact, no, we're not. We are going to utilize something a little bit different. We're going to be utilizing compact machines, which if we search in the JEI, you can actually see how these things work. So you have multiple tiers of this. The first tier begins with some compact machine walls, which is relatively simple to produce, and a 1x cobblestone, and a 1x compressed cobblestone. And as each tier goes up, it relies not on the previous one, as well as more and more compressed cobblestone. Like, as you can see, we have 2 times compressed cobblestone. Still 2 times. Are you? Yes, you're 3 times. And the final tier, I believe, yes, you're also 3 times, but you rely on the previous step. To access these things, you will need a shrinking machine, which, if you search it up, here it is. It's a relatively simple process to produce. Now, I've already crafted this, so we're going to put this one right here next to this compact machine, and we're going to enter this one. And here we are in a nice large area in which we are going to build a chamber that not only houses but also harvests the wither in actually two forms, believe it. So let me pop back out into the overworld, and let's finish gathering up the resources that we need. So food. Okay, so in interest of saving some time, I decided to build the general structure of the chamber of Kamba. Now, it's nothing really too fancy. This is just some basic facade, but the main components is this tinted glass area inside of it. So if you take a look inside here, within the chamber that it encapsulates, the tinted glass basically creates a 3 by 3 by 3 high area in which our wither can basically be spawned. You want to make sure that this entire area is completely sealed, because if, for instance, you have one sort of gap, like let's say this block right here, and your wither somehow explodes or does any damage, it will destroy anything outside or containing within this block here. So for instance, if I had a cable or any sort of machine, it would be blown up. So to prevent that, make sure that the area is completely sealed. Now, let's get into placing down these final components, shall we? So we're going to place a power source, which in my case is a quantum entangular porter, and I'm going to set this to my wind channel. We're going to make sure our energy is set correctly. Next, we can either place the wither builder or our stasis chamber. Now, if you don't have access to a wither builder, that's fine. You can just simply place the stasis chamber like so. So I'm just going to show you for demonstration purposes. But if you have the wither builder, you can just place that there, and it will make your life a little bit easier in terms of creating the wither. Let's go to the back now. Run this cable up like so. Do I have? Yes, I do. Let me just cap this back. Now in this area here, I'm going to put a mob crusher, and I'm going to make sure and I turn it off. And the reason why I'm putting a mob crusher here is if I ever choose or decide that I want to kill the wither to obtain, say, another star, I can do so using this mob crusher. But we don't want it to constantly be damaging the wither until we actually want it to kill the wither. So we're going to run this power line up now. Okay, now that we're on top here, let me get my fluid laser base, as well as these drills and the purple laser lens. So we're going to come right then in the middle, and we're going to place our fluid laser base like so. That's not in the middle, is it? Nope. Right there. Now we're going to come next to that and basically cover it or wrap around it with our laser drills. So I'm currently just using 8. You can get away with just using 4. I'm just using 8 for now. And we're going to go into our fluid laser base, and we're going to put the purple laser lens. Then we're going to take this universal cable, and basically connect it to each of our laser drills. Last thing that we're going to need to do is take an ender tank and set it on top of our fluid laser base. Then I'm going to flip it, so this way it's going to be, I believe that will ensure that it's going to take any fluid out of our fluid laser base. Let me just make sure that we have everything set there to push. Okay, so let's make sure that this is off. Okay, so that's basically it. We're kind of ready to get going. So let me quickly just get in close here. We're gonna break this glass and break this one as well. I move that, get this, get our stuff ready. So right here, we're gonna place that. Oh no. Right. That's one thing you have to be very careful of in terms of getting inside of that stasis chamber is, you know, you can actually be frozen. So let me just hop around. Didn't need to break that one. This one I need to break. That one over there. And come across one more on the side. Now, of course, if you have the Wither Builder, you don't have to go through this entire step that I'm doing right here. I'm just doing this just for show purposes, because again, I don't know if you would have the Wither Builder with you. Okay, now the skulls. This would have been easier to do from the top, you know. Yeah, but too late for that now. There we go. It's formed. Now let's fix back my facade. Like so. And the other side. Okay, this side's good. Oh, here's where I need to fit it back. This jetpack is so aggravating to use, but okay. Let's hop on top now and see what's going on. Let's make sure our laser drills are actually functioning. Okay, you have... Okay, it is. So we can see we have 60 millibuckets, 70. Let's go inside of our fluid laser base and see what's going on. Is it generating? Okay, as soon as it's generating, it's actually being sucked into this. So that is how we're actually going to generate ether. And to improve this, we can actually fill these laser drills similar to the laser drills in the overworld over there with some upgrades. Now, I suggest you also make sure that you force load this chunk, which you can do. If not, you should be fine given the fact that, well, he is in a 3x3 area and he wouldn't really get out because our tinted glass is actually weatherproof, so no matter what he does, he can't break out. But, you know, force load it so this way you can actually keep on loading this area, keep this area loaded and gathering yourself some ether gas. Okay, so I've went ahead and crafted some of the upgrades, and it's now a matter of time to just put them into our various machines. One thing that I forgot to do was come right here in our mob crusher and give it a tier 5 range add-on. This way, it encapsulates the entire area that our wither is chilling out in. Alright, let's take that off and let me go put these things inside each of these machines. Okay, so now that we have all of the efficiency and speed and processing upgrades into these, we are producing quite a fair bit of ether gas. And now we can actually go back and say, let's go back into the overworld. We can come here and change out this ether gas, this ender tank, to actually sync up with that ether gas tank in our compacting machine, and adjust this one. I really hate this jetpack. And adjust this fermentation machine to actually be able to produce 5 times ore processing. Another application of this is actually in, where is it? HY. Where is the bed? This guy. which is something that I actually want to build to try out to see if it's better than our current setup of using the garden closures. But that's going to be taking place in the next episode. So thank you all for watching. I know this episode we basically handled a few things. So if we quickly fly back across here, I showed you a better way to actually spawn the specific mobs that you need in order to gather those resources, such as if we click on the blaze and make sure our machine's running. There we go, it'll instantly kill the blaze over and over, and it'll gather us those blaze rods. We take that off, we can click on the wither skeletons, and they're gonna be generated, and they're gonna be instantly killed, because again, our mob crushers right here were working nice and efficiently. Take that off, and because we were able to set those things up, we were at last able to generate some ether gas as well as build ourselves a wither in one of these compacting machines right here, where he will forever stay encapsulated in his little prison. Okay, so on that note, thank you all for watching and take care. Bye bye now.